In today's video, I'll speak about the team sheets for round 1, go through all 9 games, and yeah, go through a few curveballs that we've been thrown. Sean, Darcy, Jake, Lloyd, both not named, so we'll get to that. So yeah, and also how good is footy to be back? Melbourne Dogs game was really good. Carlton Richmond game, good to see Carlton up and about. I really like what they've done in the off season, and it's starting to show. So also the whole Tom Morris, Luke Beveridge thing, it's amazing how that's played out. But yeah, just great entertaining. Almost feels like the NFL with the amount of entertainment we've had, or the NBA rather. So yeah, really looking forward to this year and off to a great start. And probably worth noting, a lot of really good value picks have performed really well. And I think a lot of people are missing some of them. So something we'll discuss on the podcast this week. But yeah, without further ado, we'll get to the team names. So Melbourne and the Dogs and Carlton and Richmond, they've already happened, so I don't think we need to go over that. Probably didn't get the Boyd rookie for Carlton. Gibcus played okay. For Richmond, hopefully he holds. I know Vlosson's out next week, so at least another week you would think, but I think they definitely should persist with Gibcus. Hugo was a sub. But yeah, nothing really more to say here. The games are done, so we'll actually go through the team sheets now. So tonight's game, St Kilda versus Collingwood. So in Mitch Owens and Jack Hayes, and for Collingwood in Dacos and Pat Lip named on bowl. So start off with the Saints, and looking at their side here, the first thing to note is Jack Hayes is last on the bench, which says to me, I'm looking at their forward line, Wood, King, Membry, probably their 3 tools. I think Wood's been okay, was good last year, sounds like he's had a good preseason. So when Ryder comes back, I think most likely Hayes is out. I wonder if they could use Hayes on ball. Maybe not, but Hayes is a tough one because I like him. I prefer him to Dixon, but just don't know how their job security plays out with Darling back probably pretty shortly, and Hayes, well, Ryder could be out next week, but Ryder I'm not expecting to play 22, so I actually don't know between Hayes and Dixon. I think Dixon will end up the better loop, and maybe Hayes will be a nice downgrade option after if he loses his spot to Ryder. So honestly, I'm not even sure. I think I have Hayes at the moment, but yeah, let me know what you're thinking on that. And then Mitch Owens, so has a big body, might play a bit inside and out. NAB league numbers aren't great, but he performed very well in the limited time he got in the practice game. So they have a lot of injuries, so I think his job security is quite poor and dependent on when the injuries come back. And yeah, the timelines for those injuries are a little bit not too sure. So I think you could pick Owens if you want. I don't, but I think he's capable of being a decent money maker. So interesting one. Extended bench here. Magadim Milera, hopefully he's not sub in his first game, but we'll see. Maybe Long will be sub. And then Collingwood. Down back, Dacos and Penderbury, pretty much expected. Howe might be using Howe as key position, I guess. No Will Kelly. And then the midfield, so Pat Lip and Crisp on ball. Prefer Crisp down back with no Maynard, but maybe actually no, they probably play Magin as the second tall. So Crisp on ball, prefer him down back, but I think he's going to be majority on ball, but that's fine. He should score 100 plus this year. And looking at the interchange, nothing much. No Finn McRae, unfortunate, but that's what it is. So I don't think we have any rookies here apart from Dacos, so nothing really too significant here. Main one is Hayes and Owens. Moving on to Geelong versus Essendon. Stengel in, bit too expensive I think, and Baldwin, Nick Martin and Jake Kelly, so pretty significant ins for Essendon and what that means for Supercoach. So looking at Geelong, looks like Tom Stewart is playing. I'm not sure he's 100% sure to play given waiting for the birth of a child. But yeah, I'm not too sure. I think I'd probably be worth having a plan B just in case. But yeah, it seems like they said they expect him to play, so just keep an eye on that. Decoding's centre half back, which is great, good sign. I think they got to play him as much as possible. They'd be pretty silly not to. And looking at the rest of the team, nothing significant here. Atkins on the bench, but it's not 20 21 anymore. Cooper Stevens and Francis Evans. Maybe Evans or Nark will be sub. I really hate to see Cooper Stevens sub on his first game. No Mitch Duncan, so steer clear of Cooper Stevens, and hopefully he's a downgrade option later. And then on Essendon's side of things, Ridley named centre half back. That's probably not accurate. I think Stewart and Laverde play more tall. No, did I say no? Yeah, no Mitch Duncan on Geelong side. And then this side, who are they missing? Snelling. So maybe that helps Nick Martin. And also, Harry Jones is out for a while. The injury report says Harry Jones out for mid to early of the season. I think you can definitely start Baldwin if it suits. If you didn't have Durden, I would go Baldwin. And then do you go Nick Martin? I'm picking Nick Martin at FA. I think there's a chance he plays his way into the team because he played really, really well all preseason and he earned his spot. Hopefully he becomes undroppable. I'm not sure how long Snelling's out for. He's not on the injury report, but it just came out. There's some calf complaint, something like that. And then Stringer, I don't know when Stringer comes back. I think they want to give him a block of a bit of a run. Not sure if it's in the VFL or just build up his fitness. He's definitely best 22, but yeah, we'll see. Is Ham best 22? I don't know. Is Guelphy best 22? I don't know. So maybe there's a chance that Nick Martin plays really well and becomes undroppable. I think that's a good chance, and I think he's worth the risk at 102k. So moving on to Giants versus Sydney. So in Jared Brander, we'll have a quick look at their tall setup, and then McCartan and Sheldrick in. So Sheldrick's a big one. So Giants backline, Whitfield's down back, midfield. Ash on a wing, interesting. Taranto half forward, expect him to play a bit more forward. Cogs on ball was awesome. Kelly on ball. Man, Josh Kelly is going to tempt a few. Can't do it though. I've been burnt twice by him. So yeah, he looks good. He's an amazing player. Just, you know, it's too many hiccups in the past with him. But wouldn't be surprised at all if he goes 120 plus. Not one bit. And then looking at the emergencies, I think Angwin is a rookie, defender rookie, so maybe we get him at some stage. Ward might play back, and then Green on the bench, so expect him to get some rotations. So looking at their tall setup, Himmelberg, Riccardi, and Brander. No Hogan. Okay, and then Flynn in the ruck. So I don't know what's wrong with Hogan. Didn't play the Amy game, so keep an eye on that. Would I be going Preuss at R3? It's just so risky. Maybe make the correction if you can find a way. If he plays 2 games, that's probably what I would do. So yeah, it's just, I think he should play because he's a good player, very good. But yeah, it's just a little risky for my liking, but it could work out. But yeah, I think I'll just have a look at it. He needs to get through 2 games first for him to make cash. Down back, Peter McCartan. Third tall, maybe? I thought he'd be... No, I think he's a bit taller than Rampy, so I would expect him to play centre half back, like his brother. Campbell down back, McInerney. So no Jake Lloyd. Sounds like he's in COVID protocols. Where's Blakey? Blakey last on the bench. Okay. So that's... Maybe McInerney has to play back to cover for Lloyd instead of on the wing. So that'll be one to watch. I have him in AFL Fantasy. Not for Supercoach though. I think the role's a bit too uncertain. A little bit unproven as well. But he is quite cheap in fantasy. In the midfield row bottom, Kennedy, Stevens. So I'm not expecting Kennedy to play a lot of mid minutes throughout the year. Maybe this year. Chad Warner is out for this game, so worth noting that maybe he needs to play a bit more mid. Half forward, Gordon. Heaney at centre half forward, and then Hayward. So they're running Franklin, McLean, and Logan McDonald. So 3 togs. So that's good for Heaney. I know he's listed at centre half forward, so I would expect they can't run 4 tolls, or they're just going to run 3 and 1 on the bench the whole time, maybe. I would expect Heaney gets a little bit of time up the ground. And then Sheldrick, I think, is the Papley replacement, because they trialled him up forward in practice games. He played okay, kicked 2 snags, so yeah, he scored really well in the Waffle Colts leagues. I think 150 plus average, so I think Erasmus was 160 plus, so yeah, I think he's a solid... I think he's a reasonable bench option. I don't know where to rate him, because when Papley is back, I'm not sure he holds his spot. and then his role probably won't be a whole bunch of midfield unless they decide to put him in the midfield because they're missing Warner and whatnot. So not too sure. Mills on the bench. Mills is definitely in a void until he can show full fitness, but man, he can score really heavy. So yeah, moving on. Nothing much. Oh, they're not playing Sam Reid, so he's probably back up to McCartan. Not playing Sinclair. No room for him. Lions versus Port. So in Darcy Fort. That's very bad for Oscar McInerney. And then in Mead and Finlayson. Finlayson's looked good in the preseason. Mead we'll get to. I'm not too sure on him, to be honest. So down back. So Archie maybe taking Birchall role. Not sure. So Rich centre half back. He's not a centre half back. So in terms of the points going down back to Brisbane, it looks like they're all going to go to Rich. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. I don't like starting players at his age, and there are better durable options, I guess. So yeah, expecting him to score well though. In the midfield, Zorko named on ball, so he's in. See how that goes. And then half forward, Bailey half forward. It's going to be hard for him to get a whole lot of mid time. They got Berry, they got Zorko, Neil, Lyons. Maybe he'll get a little bit. We got Rayner there named in the forward pocket. See how he goes. Neil on ball was encouraging, as expected. And then Answorth might have had a wing spot, but named all the way down on the bench. So he's really cheap in fantasy. So one I'd looked at, but ideally I'd avoid. And Berry on the bench, that's fine. Not too worried about that. Important part of their midfield. And then yeah, emergencies. Harry Sharp, I think he's 190k mid. Madden's not getting a game with Coleman out, no Birchall, so that's not great signs for him. Then over to Port Adelaide side, down back, whatever, midfield, whatever. Butters named at half forward, he'll play plenty up the ground, wouldn't worry about that. And then Mead last on the bench, so Mead is probably a sub risk going forward. No Josh Sin anywhere, so very hard to fit in Josh Sin. I think Riley Bonner, I think he had a good final series from memory, and then had a decent preseason. So I'm not starting Mead. I don't have my head wrapped around his job security. Wasn't overly impressed with him, but it's a young guy, a small sample size. So apparently had a good preseason. So one you could look at. One I'm happy to pass on for now, but given he's high talent, been in the system a few years, could be okay, but just not too sure. Yeah, that's a bit about it. Move on. Hawthorn versus North Melbourne. So in Connor McDonald, Max Lynch, and Josh Ward. So that's interesting. 3 sub 200k players. I think Max Lynch is a bit over 200, but 3 very cheap players. Connor McDonald named forward pocket. I think they got to give him games. I think Sam Mitchell would want to persist with him. Probably not going to score a whole lot because he's not going to get enough time on the wing. Unfortunately, it kind of sucks. Max Lynch first ruck, looks like he's going to play with Reeves. I think they said they want to play both. Don't know how he scores, to be honest. Don't know what his split is. Too uncertain for my liking, but an interesting one. And then Josh Ward named on the wing. Expect him to get inside mid rotations, but yeah, might not get the amount of mid time he did in the Amy game because O'Meara and Mitchell were not there. So O'Meara was under a cloud with a hamstring. Tom Mitchell had a slight groin issue, but given they're named, sounds like they're fine. So yeah, I have Connor McDonald at M11 and Josh Ward is my M8. So yeah, Josh Ward also had calf tightness, but he seems fine. Worth noting that Sicily's named at centre half back, and if you're looking at the forward line from North, Larkey, Zerhard, Cherry, Goldstein, and then CCJ extended, so I don't know if he plays. So they got a fair few tools, and they're not playing hard again either, but they got Frost and Fraser Barras. So I don't have Sicily. I think his role might be a little frustrating, but interestingly, and also he's probably not going to get the kick into used to, but worth noting that in his Amy game, he scored 87, only 80% time on ground. Over his career, down back, he's been 90 plus, 90, 92, 93%. So he might be okay, Sicily. I just think it's hasn't been the most durable player always, and then bit of doubt. The role might be frustrating at times. something I've chosen to just pay up all the way up to Jack Chris. But I think if you want to pick Sicily, it's okay. But I don't want to deal with, I don't know, watching him play a non-friendly role at times. But he can still score okay in it. So if you want, you can go for it. Worth noting that CJ's back. Day and Impey are very close to being back, I think, within the first 4 or 5 weeks, maybe less. So it's one I'll pass on, but could be okay. Yeah, Finn McGuinness on the interchange. Wonder if he plays. Interesting. I wasn't impressed with him, but they really rate him, I think. He's had a good preseason, so maybe one that gets away from us, but I'll pass for now. I think we got a decent amount of mid and forward rookie availability, unlike the defense. And then looking at North Melbourne, Aaron Hall, Luke McDonald, Jack Siebel. So few people might be going Lloyd to Hall. Look, Hall will score well. I know Luke McDonald's back, so I don't think he'll score as well as last year because of Luke McDonald taking kick-ins and rebounds. But I still expect him to score like a top 6 defender. Just the hamstring age, it's too risky for me. So Simpkin on ball, Greenwood wing, but he'll play on ball. Where's Taron Thomas? On ball, that's a good sign if you like Thomas. The main issue here is Tristan Cherry is named in the forward line. Goldstein's a follower. So what do we do with Tristan Cherry? Are we worried? A little bit. I think they'd be it would stagger me if they didn't use him, I don't know, 40-50% in the ruck at least. But while they have a few tolls here, I don't know if they're playing CCJ. CCJ was injured, so he might be underdone, so I don't know if he plays, but I'll be sticking with Cherry. I think he's had a great preseason. He can score really well in the ruck, and I expect him to take it. Surely they give him a decent amount of mid minutes, so is whatever. Worth noting that on Saturday nights, when they is it Saturday or no, Friday nights, I think, I can't even remember. Sometimes the team sheets change once they finalize the extended bench. That might mean Cherry might move to number 1 ruck on the team sheet, but even then, if he doesn't, I'll still pick him. He's 200k. Hopefully, it doesn't require correction, but yeah, I'll be staggered if they don't use him ruck, given Goldie's age, Cherry's preseason form. They've been using Cherry number 1 ruck in match sim, so it's like there's surely not, but give Cherry 2 weeks and then assess from there. So I'm still okay picking him, but would have been nice if he was named over Goldstein. Goldie's been playing forward, and so preseason, so whatever. The Crows versus Freo in Rochelle, Saligo, Dawson. So they're all playing in for Freo, Clark, Erasmus, Brody. Erasmus extended bench, so not sure he's named, but one I'd definitely get in when he plays as a downgrade target, even though he's expensive. So the Crows down back, nothing really here of relevance, to be honest. Then Dawson named on a wing. I think Dawson will play a bit inside because of no Laird. So I love Dawson. Really excited for him as a Crows supporter. Really excited to see him. Heard some unbelievable things coming out from the Crows, but reality is he's just coming off a calf issue. It's a little too risky for my liking, and one I'll look at down the track. Just needed to see something and needed to be fully fit. So there's 2 minor doubts there, but I think he'll be really good. Maybe he's feels a little underdone because of the calf. I'll pass on him and then we'll assess later in the season, but one that could, D1 potential for sure. Forward line, playing Ben Keys off half forward in the preseason, I don't like it. I just play him on ball, but maybe without Laird he plays more on ball. And Rochelle named forward pocket, so he'll push up the ground a bit. So I have Rochelle on the bench. I love him on the field, but I think Rochelle, I'm going to miss some really good scores on the bench. I'll probably miss some bad ones too, is what it is. And then O'Brien, Schoenberg, Matty Crouch. Still, Crouch I think might be a tad underdone, so needs to build, hasn't played a full game for a very, very long time. And his time on ground, I think, would have been in the 70s in the Amy game, so it's whatever. I think Gollant could play. He's a 123k forward rookie. I'd probably avoid. I think his role will be bad. And with Taylor Walker coming back soon, I think Gollant is a reasonable chance to make way. Saligo had low time on ground in the Amy game, but he's the best. If given the role, he's the best of the 117k guys. It's just I'm not sure he does. And then with Lloyd coming back, Soligo might make way. I don't mind it. I don't have him. If I was forced to pick him, I don't mind. But between him, Owens, Hoff, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I really don't know. To be honest, I think I'd go Soligo. But I really don't know. So, yeah, it's a hard one. Owens probably looked the most capable, most encouraging in the Amy game, though. So, see how it goes. Hoff, I think, gets a good run at it, but he's not going to win a whole lot of contested ball. Probably one for Dream Team, not Fantasy, and might have some okay job security. So maybe Hoff is okay as well, because he looked good, rapid improver. So yeah, I still don't know about that dilemma, so I've actually avoided all three. So I'm really sorry, I don't know the answer. I think Miller, they said, will play, start off the bench, so not one I'd pick for sure. Now, on the Fremantle side of things, Chapman named on field, so I don't think Chapman was named on the field in the Amy game, so that's pretty encouraging. So I don't mind the Chapman pick if you want to go down that route. He's definitely improved this preseason, looked really good. Glowing reports from everywhere in the West. It's just they said that he might be used in different roles, so he could be used lockdown every now and then. That makes me a little nervous, but I think the pick will be okay. I don't have him, but you know, I wouldn't be opposed if you wanted to pick him. But yeah, there are risks that come with that. Centre line, so Brody named on field. So while I'm not sure Brody is a long-term solution for Fremantle, I think they give him a run because Crowden's on the bench, I think. And I think that will be what, Fife. It would, you know, naturally you'd think Fife takes his spot in the midfield. So I think they've liked what they've seen from Brody. He's got a whole new opportunity, new club. So with the midfield role, he can score. Given his price, I think he's worth the risk. So I have Brody in my team. His ownership's also very, very high, nearly 40%, which threw me. I didn't think it was going to be that high. So yeah, he's in, and still I don't know if he's a long-term solution for them, but I think they give him a run, put it that way. See how he goes. And then, yeah, Mundy named at half forward. Maybe they ease him in a little bit. You know, not going to give him full-time mid off a very interrupted preseason. And no Sean Darcy. So what do you do without Sean Darcy? Could you go Dixon Hayes? I don't know. I think they're both, their job security could be in trouble. You probably, the safe play, the mid-ground plays, probably just go Marshall and hope Marshall matches Gawn, which I think is actually possible, especially with Ryder a little bit dodgy this year. So I'd probably go to Rowan Marshall. Could go to Wits, but Wits does make me a little nervous, but I think I would go Rowan. And then, yeah, hopefully use that extra 100k on Gawn or whatever it is, and make up the difference between Gawn and Rowan. And if Rowan gets forward status, which I don't think he will, because Ryder will be out, so that'll make it tough for him to get it. Fantastic, but not sure that happens. Tucker named on interchange. Interesting. Maybe he gets mid-time. Or maybe he doesn't play, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who plays here. So last game, I think it is, the Eagles versus the Suns. A lot of ins, Dixon in, Jack Williams, probably extended bench, Sam, SPS. I don't know who this is. Jamison, Hoff, and Naish. And then Scholl, Moyle, and Casbolt in for the Suns, probably on the bench. So we'll get to that in a second. So down back for West Coast. Foley's a cheap rookie down back. Apparently he's had a good preseason, but a little too risky for my liking. SPS named on the field. I think he just literally has to play. So, and then, yeah, not one I'd look at to pick. And then in the forward line, Hugh Dixon. So it says, the injury report says Darling is weeks away. So they said up to a month. So it could be a bit less than that. Does Dixon hold with Kennedy and Waterman in the team? I think they've played the 4 talls before. Brian sort of plays tall as well. Bailey Williams, I'm not sure, is the answer here. So maybe Dixon's okay. Dixon probably makes a little more sense over Hayes, because Hayes, it seems inevitable that Hayes will get dropped for Ryder, but then again, is Ryder going to be right? Maybe he plays unbelievably well and holds, so it's really drawn my head in. Maybe Dixon does hold. See if Bailey Williams is named. If Bailey Williams is named on the bench and Dixon's named, well, maybe that means Dixon will hold when Darling's back. And if not, Dixon just turns into a decent loop anyway. So see how that goes. It's really, really tough to get a read on. Gaff will play inside, I think, as his name, but as a follower, just has to. So yeah, I think Winder's a rookie. I don't know if he plays round 1. And then Naish, I actually quite like Naish. Clearly, some clubs aren't happy with his contested work, but seems like a really hard worker and has proven scoring in the VFL and scored okay when given the chance at AFL level, although that was a few years ago. Moving over to the Suns, so nothing much down back. I'm not interested in Weller. Touk Miller on ball, of course, and then up forward, Luke Osha's playing forward, not back, so maybe that helps with Weller's kick-ins. Witts is named, Rao on ball as expected, so Alex Davies probably gets named. Fiorini I expect to get named, and then not too sure. Moyle's probably emergency. So yeah, I think I have Touk and Rao in my team. Expect Gold Coast to win this game. They can probably smell blood with the poor West Coast in their injury issues at the moment. So yeah, hopefully that was at all some help. I don't mind the Naish pick. It's just seems like there's stronger options with better ceilings in the forward line. So if something happens to Cherry, I'll probably switch to Naish, but as long as Cherry plays, I'll pick him. So hopefully that helped. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys soon.